Hi everyone, my name is Deivide Garcia. I'm professor here at the Federal University of Recôncavo, Bahia, and I'm here to present to you the work exploring the risks of a general purpose AI, the role of nearsighted goals, and the brain's reward mechanism in processes of decision making. So first of all, I'd like to thank the organizers of the first workshop on hybrid human machine learning and decision making. Uh, I'd like to thank Burku for all the help that she provided for me and all the support and help that she and effort that she's made in making right to make this presentation possible. So yeah, without further ado, I'd like to what I'm gonna do is present my aim. Then I'm gonna motivate the topic of the research, and then we're gonna dive into how humans make decisions and how brain reward mechanism enters in this let's say equation, right? So our aim is to understand how AI can exploit human decision-making processes based on emotional motivations and the control of dopamine that results from human brain reward mechanisms. Um, and well, since the release of large language models, right, LLMs, and other general purpose AIs brought, we are facing many consequences, and heated debates have been emerged from that. We have different topics arising from this release of general purpose AIs, right? Topics like limits of AI, ethics of AI, possibilities of individual interactions with AI, social impact, and so on. So for the sake of this presentation, right, our topic will focus on how human nearsighted goals and with it our beliefs can be remodeled by or by AI through manipulation of the brain reward mechanism. And according to the literature, human goals are established according to a dual decision-making processes theory, which proposes two categories of decision-making process, system one and system two. So system one do reach a decisions in a very automatic, fast, and easily affected by emotion way, right? System two, on the other hand, is slower and more rational than system one. And its most important function of system two is the successful override of system one. We add a third element to this situation, which is then the mechanism of brain reward, right? The brain reward mechanism involves, of course, environmental factors and also biological factors. We are here focused on basically the limbic system, which is responsible for brain reward mechanism, but within the limbic system, which involves many parts of the brain, the release of dopamine is more or less centered at the brain in the VTA, right, ventral segmental area, and it moves towards the accumbens um, of the brain, which is a part of the brain. So our purpose will be explore the role of a brain mechanism in decision-making processes, which combine with this this dual process theories, system one, system two also play their role, right? And so the third element of how human make decisions, um, from a brain's biochemical viewpoint, is to accomplish a goal. We not only choose between two general routes, fast and slow, right? System one or system two, respect to decision-making process. We also look for rewards, right? Usually associated with such decisions, for instance, dopamine. So what we perceive as a reward, of course, will impact on the release of dopamine. And this perception of reward varies from time to time, context to context, person to person. But there is an average, let's say, human expectation, of course. So for instance, if you take the work of Liley and Goldhammer, they talk about the pleasures, the trap, the pleasure trap zones, right? About with respect to our experience with food. So, for instance, if you look at the graphic in to the image on the screen, you see that there are 5 stages. They establish 5 stages of experience of pleasure associated with food. Stage 1 is whole food. Stage 5, whole food again. And on the vertical column, you see levels of pleasure that goes from subnormal, normal, and enhanced. So if you just eat whole food, your perception of pleasure associated with food is considered, let's say, normal. But then if you start to eat junk food, your perception of pleasure increase significantly, right? And it changes the zone. It goes from normal to enhanced. Nonetheless, if you want to come back to whole food, what will happen is that you feel less pleasure. You feel that you go from enhanced, then normal and subnormal before you go back to normal again by eating whole foods. So so this is the trap, right? This is the trap. So the third element of how humans make decisions is that, unsurprisingly, if you try to have, let's say, more dopamine on your brain, if you want to have more pleasure, so sit on a couch eating some fat, delicious food, that happens to many of us, rather than finding dopamine in more healthy and sweat ways, is a fast and saving energy way to get a reward system to lighten up. So sit on a couch is one way to say that nearsighted goals can be easily reached, right? And attached to faster rewards. So fast is dopamine. And so if you focus on nearsighted goals provide faster release of dopamine. So when you combine system 1 with system 2, what happens that we know that nearsighted goals commonly have faster reward and emotional appeal. Consequently, an easy way to get a reward is by letting the urgency of our dopamine system guide our decisions. And for the sake of this research, the critical question then is, what kind of external factors could change the direction of our choices, right? So, for instance, one human can influence others as other humans, right, as external factor. Although this may be very hard to do, change others' mind, but it's a way to do it. It is possible to do it. Consequently, the disturbing question is how they do it, right? Because other humans can change other humans' mind, but it is hard. And so, yeah, to do this, to one human changes another human's mind, it needs to have, the first person needs to have a deep understanding of who we are and what are our mental buttons, right, as individuals and as species. And also it needs to gain the trust of the person who will be subjected to changing to have the mind changed. Well, these two things are very hard to accomplish by a human, right? So Stuart Russell says that machines which have a much greater understanding of human psychology and beliefs and motivation can relatively easy guide us in the direction that they want, not in the direction that we want. So we are much more subjected to influence by machines because of their deeper understanding of our psychology as individuals and as species. Um, so how do we avoid this, right? How do we avoid that there are mechanisms, our brain mechanism, like reward mechanisms, which is more prone to be influenced by AI because they are emotionally based, um, are exposed. So we propose basically three suggestions to avoid that. The first one is the first thing is to note that we must be aware that we are humans and we have limits, collective and individually, and we are vulnerable to advanced AIs more than we can imagine. So we need to be careful, right? We need to acknowledge the dangers of that, the risks of that. Second thing to notice that this vulnerability comes in degrees. So according to a myriad of items, and also in these degrees of vulnerability is in constant change due to ongoing human interaction changes as well. And the third one, which is more practical, is that whatever choice we make to keep AI systems on check, right? Whether we have better laws, we build better laws, or better algorithms, or better technology, education for people, or better policies, the aim of keeping AI systems on check is somewhat similar to the effort we daily employ for keep our irrational and emotional beliefs and desires in check, i.e., it demands constant critical thinking. So the same way we keep our irrational thought, which we have constantly on a daily basis, we also need to do the same, apply the same principle with it every time we use technology, which is hard, but it's a price to pay if we want to keep using AI. And so thanks so much. These are the references. And if you want to have more details of this research, you just need to check on the proceedings of the workshop, which will be published soon. And if you want to send me a question, just check on my email, which will be published as well in the conferences. So thanks so much.